Ah, okay. It's on. Hi, Rick Harsh here. I promised last time uh, I was on here. Not that anyone watching this cares what I promised, but I may or may not care. But I promised that I was going to be reading Louis Armand's Breakfast at Midnight, noir. They call it acid noir. There's no acid that I recall, although it's a very acidic, toxic environment. It's um, it's a prog of the down and out, and it starts with a very alluring character uh, description. A man who's down and out, and on a he lives on a barge that just I think just has nothing but junk in it, and a few things that make it livable. And it's very close to a bar and brothel and so on. And he's got one kind of friend in the book that who shows up very quickly and takes him to view a body, a woman who's been dragged out of the Voltava, and the friend likes to photograph. Apparently, this is not. It's made more of on the back of the book in the description than it actually is in the book. The character is very important. His name is Blake. The main character, the man from the boat. I don't know if we ever get his name. Now that I think of it, and he's taken to see the body, and he wants to know why. Blake likes to take photographs of dead people. I think he finds them more appealing than live people. Blake's a cynical guy, and he gets most of the good lines in the book in terms of dialogue. The rest are Louis Armand. He gives himself most of the good lines in the book, but then again, he's the author, so you know, it's generous that he gives away any great lines to Blake. Um, this is one of those books where you start it, and within 2 or 3 pages, you think this guy's perfect. I mean, this is a perfect book. And of course, I'm not sure what that means. Books have transitional sentences that aren't well. Here you can find one on every page. Up on deck, it's warmer than it was. Okay, well, yeah, but sign of a thaw setting in. Post rigor mortis. The air's brewery sour. A depthless mist hangs over the river, seeping up the river bank. Restless spirits seethe out of it. I stand at the bow, breathing in the alien atmosphere, arcing a stream of piss onto river ice. Now that so the ordinary sentence leads to a very poetic passage, and I think maybe that's the one thing I'm going to say that really matters. Here's a note to see my doctor. Um, no, that didn't go so well. Um, here's this is called a human fish, and you find these in the caves of Slovenia. Um, Prometheus, I think, is one of the names of it. But anyway, I guess that was my last um, note here. Here's another medical note. That one went much better. Got the drugs I needed. Drugs, yeah, there are a lot of drugs in this book, and acid. Well, I guess the state of the mind of the character is hallucinatory in a sense, but what I really should start with is what is noir. Film noir is where noir came from, although film noir may have come from detective stories that had atmosphere. And I had a friend who was sort of an expert on films, and he said this is how he characterized film noir. Um, you got to have a good guy, a smart guy, but he's never as smart as he needs to be. He always falls for a woman. She's always a bad woman, the femme fatale, and then it has to be filled out with the atmosphere, which is usually provided by, in film, by characters like Sidney Greenstreet, Peter Lorre. There's so many great character actors from the film noir era in Hollywood. And I'm not an expert, so I'm not going to give them to you. But one of the great historical circumstances that is overlooked, except by film noir, is the problem of World War II vets coming back to this place that they don't recognize and they don't fit into. And so film noir always has an environment of degradation, of unfairness, poverty, of greed, and lust. And I'm not saying these are all bad things. Lust is, sort of, what it's part of the game. But this book qualifies as noir in that it, better than any noir book I've ever read, provides a story with relentlessly pulsing, live, poetic. Could have been written by Lautréamont with a little bit, if someone had said, stick to the story, pal. And it does stick to the story, but it goes back and forth. And I don't know how much to tell without giving it away. The corpse that he's taken to see, the reason his friend Blake, sort of friend Blake, you never know if Blake's really a friend or not, but Blake takes him there where he's going to photograph the body because 10 years previously, the love of this guy's life, and it's a very ordinary story in a way. Young love gone wrong is not an uncommon theme, but this one is brutal and specific, and leads to not so much mayhem as tragedy and uncertainty. And so the book itself, there is no, the detective is maybe in a sense, in an accidental sense, the main character. That he doesn't believe that the redhead fished out of the river was his childhood love, Reagan. They actually were adult loves too, but it's also there's some very brutal family matters here, and I don't want to give away what happens. There are particularities to it, but even if I did, I would say, here's every detail of the story. Now read the book, because it's going to be so much better than you think, because the way that the story is told, everything that's filled in, every gap is filled in by filth of some kind. The filth that the mind creates to give a place to the horrors of everyday life and so on. This book by Louis Armand, Breakfast at Midnight, and by the way, that the title comes from a series of collages by the Czech visual artist, costume designer, and scenographer Libor Fara, 1925 to 1988. His work also provides the cover for this book, a collage from the same series entitled The Resonance of Her Evening. So, that's great as well. This whole thing, this is, of course, Equus Press. It's a beautiful book. It's beautifully written and as well, and it definitely, I have to give it away to someone who needs it, and so I'll have to buy it again, and I will, because this is definitely something to read and reread. And I guess the thing that you have to do with a book like this when you review it is you underline lots of things. And I found this the kind of book that I never knew when I was going to read it for more than 5 minutes, but I had it with me all the time, and every time I picked it up, I was right back exactly where I was. Um, Here's a nice line. "I'm not a whore," she said, matter of fact. And you weren't thinking she was a whore, matter of fact, at that point. I hope. I mean, it wouldn't have been fair. Um, what she was traumatized, I think. But, well, read this. Louis Armand's Breakfast at Midnight. I think this was one of those books that was nominated for the futile, useless Guardian, not the Booker, which seems to exist to give attention to great books and then tear them down. I don't know. I didn't look anything up about this. But there's a quote that's on other books about this. I can't remember. I guess I should look and see if it's on Cairo. I think it is. Yeah. Which Richard Marshall of 3am said a perfect modern noir. So I got no. I think that's a very simple description and accurate. But this is there's another one here, and it's quoted, but it doesn't tell you who the quote is from. But it says an elegy in E minor for the other Prague, and I think it's more than that. It is that, but it is more than that. So here you go. This is my shortest review ever, almost, except when I review what's that guy, Karl Ove Knausgaard's Hair. That's a short review, but for a full book, you can't lose with this one. I don't think you'll find a better noir book, and that the fact that it's noir is just I don't know. By the way, it might as well have been written. He could have written the same story, and maybe if it would have remained entirely in the countryside, it wouldn't have been that. But it actually goes all the way to Bolivia, just to add a little bit. The Ucayali River is mentioned in here. So is Le Havre. Take care. It's Rick Har's short review. That 6 stars, 7 stars. If you give it stars, this gets the most. If you need to borrow money, I'm the last person you want to ask. But if you're that desperate, I'll give you $10 if you need it. I'll help you. Really should be read. Thanks. Sorry to be so serious. Oh, turning it off. I have to turn it off. Behind me, there's I have X on, and someone who's listing noir movies and showing bits of them. I just started watching that, and I thought, fuck it. Why not do Louis? See, I'm already up to 50 minutes. Fuck it. I'm going to shut up now.